go, Jack! Stay here, stay here. Check out the lock.
Operator, you can turn the police!
Down that goddamn foley! Drop the ball!
The only way these reviews work, I try a few different recordings, like I said in the last one, the only way they work for me anyway is that, I just have no agenda with them. Just fucking speak about it, man. And whatever comes out, because if you have this agenda, like I said, it's kind of weird because it is connected to what I talk about before. What I talked about a lot more before the reviews was about no self and stuff like that, right? Because once yourself gets involved in it, it's kind of like it starts scheming all these ideas of, wait, blow away everything out of proportion. So I think that these reviews are going to do way better if I just don't give a fuck. I don't care if I'm any good, don't care if I'm any bad or anything like that. Just like, whatever, man. I don't have to even be perfect in certain areas. I think as long as it's authentic and that's it, right? So 48 Hours, directed by Walter Hill. One of the things that was really cool about this film is that Nick Nolte is a wolf in the film. And you need to be like that. When you're dealing with certain characters like the one in the film Gans, when you're dealing with characters like that, you try and go after people like that with this kind of wishy-washy attitude. Forget about it, man. Forget about it. You're going to be turned into mincemeat. There's loads of different things about 48 Hours as a movie that's really, really good. It knows it's a movie and it entertains, and the characters are really, really good in it. And you can't make movies like this today. Let me just repeat that for a second. You can't make movies like this today, and we're supposed to be advancing. What the fuck is wrong with everyone, dude? Like, just say the racial element in 48 Hours. He was calling them loads of names and stuff like that. Yeah, so, and? It's a way of people then kind of like, well, if you're affected by labels, then you have to work on it, right? This protecting everyone in cotton balls all the time. What a load of tripe all that is, right? So kind of like the wolf-like nature in 48 Hours with Nick Nolte's character is brilliant in it, because you can't hunt down someone like your man, like I said, without having that nature. My older brother has this nature, and I never really understood it until I was a bit older, and I started looking back at it, and I went like, geez, he always had it, and he always kept it with him. He never gave it up. He never gave it up, even to this day, right? He never gave up that wolf-like nature that he had. His eyes narrowed down, and people I remember people when I was younger used to say to me, these are tough kind of guys and stuff. And say like, there's something about your brother, I just wouldn't really want to mess with him, and I understand now what it is. It's like that wolf-like nature, right? Like I said, I have it a bit more now than when I was younger, but I appreciate my brother for that, looking back on it, because he was dead right. He never gave it up, because we're living in this world, right? It's reality. Reality is reality, all right? And when you're dealing with these fucking parasites everywhere and these game players and bullshitters and stuff, you want to have that nature. Now, he ain't perfect, but he's a man that has, way more virtues than negatives, by the way, all right? But that's just a different story, right? But that wolf-like nature Nick Nolte has in 48 Hours, and you need to be a wolf to hunt down a wolf. You can't be anything other. You know what I mean? So kind of like, they want to wrap everyone in cotton balls all the time, but 48 Hours was great because of that. I thought it was great, and it really depicted it really, really good. You can't be fucking around with people like that, man, right? I remember this one time when I was in prison, and there was this guy called Bernard, what the fuck was his last name? Egan. Bernard Egan, and he was put into the cell with me and another guy, and he was a junkie, right? And this is a guy with scars all over his face. This is a killer, all right? This is a guy that was in solitary confinement for 3 years on his own. This guy's a fucking killer, right? So he started screaming in the cell at one point because he wanted methadone to come down, right, from his heroin addiction. And he was screaming that he was going to slash me and the other guy up in the cell. So I sat down on the floor. I knew what I was dealing with the minute I seen his face and his eyes, right? So I sat down on the floor, and I was thinking to myself, like, okay, right, okay. It was a bit of a high, because it was like, well, this is interesting, isn't it? Like, this guy, like, what if he comes towards me, what am I going to do? So I had a pen in my pocket, right? A pen in my pocket. If he would have came towards me, I would have stuck it in his fucking head. Okay, and that's it. Simple as that. And I wouldn't have felt any way about it whatsoever, other than just my survival. I don't care about him. I don't give a shit. Now, when he calmed down from the thing, he was fist bumping me later on in the bunk. He was fine with me. Once he calmed down and all the rest of it. And as long as you don't not taking the piss out of them and you listen to them more than you would talk, they're fine with you, right? So there is tactics to deal with psychopaths, right? But 48 Hours was great at that because you could really sense in the movie, Nick Nolte's character and stuff like that, that he was doing what he was supposed to be doing, which is hunting down these predators. I yield.